Good morning. All right, first thing I want you to do is take your right hand and raise your right hand. Come on, everybody. Raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. Now do this. Now you can tell everybody when you go to work Monday that weird church you went to, the pastor made you do the wave first thing. My wife hates those jokes. All right, so just a little quick nugget. I've been reading through 1st and 2nd Kings. And cool. So believe it or not, I don't just read for the sermon Sunday morning. I have my own personal reading. I've been reading through 1st and 2nd Kings and Chronicles mixed in there. And there's one thing that I always look at, and there are very few good kings that come to mind in the Bible when you talk about Israel and Judah. And even the good ones, one thing that sticks out, it talks about all of the good things that these kings have done. And then when you get to the end, it says, but they did not remove the high places. And so these are kings that led revivals. These are kings that did all of these great things for God. And it says at the end of their life, but they did not remove the high places. Now the high places were places where, against the Jewish law, they would go to a mountaintop instead of going to the temple and offering sacrifices. Instead of bringing their sacrifice to the priest, they would go out on their own, and they would offer a sacrifice wrongly to God or against the law, or they would offer to another god. And here's what I'm getting at, is that revival that king would lead would only last for the season of their life. All of the good things that they do and all the good acts they did, because they didn't totally cleanse the land, because they said, well, what does it matter? We'll just let this slide over here. That's a small thing. It's not that big of a deal. And as soon as that king was gone, people went back to doing the same old thing that they'd always done. And so for me, what that kind of reminds me to do is in my life, I try to find my high places. The things that I'm kind of, it's hard for me to let this go, or maybe I feel like, it's all right, I'll just let that be. And it's a section of my life that I don't turn over to God. And so I find out when I'm having a struggle in my life, when bad times come, it's usually brought on by one of my high places that I've left alone. Something in my life where I've depended on myself and my own thought process instead of turning to God and asking Him. One instance is I try to lose weight all the time, and what I find is I'll get stressed and I will stress eat. And so as a result, I exercise really hard to try to get rid of extra weight. Does anybody here ever try to out-exercise your diet? It doesn't work. But I keep telling myself I can just exercise hard enough and it'll be all right. Whereas if I would turn my stress sometimes over to God instead of a pack of Oreos, problem solved, right? Hey, God, I'm going to lean on you for stress instead of Oreos for stress. So what seems like little things in your life, even the little things, like that's a little thing. But what I'm trying to get at is even in the little things that seem insignificant, if you find a place where you're not turning your life over to God, just hand it over. I promise it may seem hard, it may seem counterintuitive at the time, but I promise you it's for the best. All right, guys, let's pray the band up.